of a few years ago provided adequate power for our relatively slow military aircraft and for the transport planes that flew our peacetime airways. But war brought demands for greater speed, more power, higher altitude, and longer range from all types of planes, bombers, fighters, and giant transports. Today's aircraft engines are marvels of engineering, research, and design. They develop more power, operate longer between overhauls, and require less maintenance than ever before. Aircraft engines are designed to produce tremendous power. For example, each cylinder of the double-Ross engine develops more horsepower than all the cylinders combined in the average automobile. To produce such powerful engines requires endless development and precise workmanship. All parts must be machined to exact tolerances and assembled to correct clearances. There is no substitute for quality. Equally important is the care which the engine receives after it leaves the factory and is in actual operation. Thorough, careful maintenance and proper operating procedures are essential to the continued satisfactory performance of these dependable engines. In war or in peace, a grounded plane is useless, and it is up to the maintenance personnel to service and repair aircraft engines speedily and properly. Failure to use care and common sense may cause serious accidents, resulting in damage to equipment and even loss of life. Inexperienced men may make costly mistakes unless they receive proper instruction and careful guidance. Consequently, they should be teamed up with experienced mechanics who can closely supervise their work. Engine mechanics must first be thoroughly familiar with the engines for which they are responsible. And second, their work must be done in accordance with the tried and proven recommendations of the engine manufacturer or service activity. The limitations of Pratt & Whitney engines, together with the operating and maintenance procedures, are specifically described in Army and Navy technical orders. By following these instructions carefully, operating and maintenance personnel can greatly prolong the life of the engine. When either of these essentials, careful maintenance or proper operation, is neglected, trouble may result. The process of locating and correcting trouble is known as troubleshooting. There can be no guesswork. Troubleshooting must be accomplished with skill, based on experience and common mechanical horse sense. And it must be done according to recommended procedure. The troubleshooter can simplify his job, ensure dependability, and increase engine life by following 4 fundamental rules. First, be inquisitive. Accumulate all available information about the engine and its operation. Question the pilot, other members of the crew, and maintenance personnel. Learn from them what symptoms of trouble they may have noticed, and the sequence of events leading to the start of the trouble. Determine if there were any unusual or abnormal instrument indications when trouble was first noticed. What was the manifold pressure and the RPM? What were the cylinder head temperatures, the oil pressure and temperature? Determine what weather conditions prevailed before trouble developed. From flight reports and maintenance records, find out what troubles, if any, existed previously. Using all the information you have collected, locate the trouble by a process of elimination. Now, this information should give you a pretty good idea whether the trouble is located in the ignition system, in the fuel and induction system, or if it is of a mechanical nature. The second rule is be systematic. Start with what appears to be the most logical source of the trouble in that system. If the trouble proves to be elsewhere, try the next most likely location, and so on until the trouble is discovered. The third fundamental rule is be accurate. Do your work right. In troubleshooting, good workmanship is absolutely necessary. Cutting corners or poor workmanship is not only a dangerous practice, but is also undeniable evidence that the mechanic is unfit for aircraft maintenance. It takes only a little longer to do a job right. Fourth, and last, be cooperative. Consult with other mechanics, crew chiefs, and factory representatives. Their previous experience can help you locate and correct your own troubles. Offer your advice and constructive criticism wherever it is needed. Your experience may help others correct their troubles. Remember that two heads are better than one. Now, many troubleshooting problems are simple to locate and correct. For example, if there is an oil or fuel leak, you can easily locate the source of the leak and then tighten or replace the connection, gasket, or seal. A broken bracket or a brace is easily discovered and repaired. Such troubles are obvious, and it's not difficult to decide what must be done. But if there are no indications of the source of the trouble, or if sufficient information is lacking, then simple troubleshooting procedure must be supplemented with a thorough check of the engine. Now, this is particularly important when an engine is suspected of having an internal failure. Then the decision must be made whether or not that engine can be okayed for further flight. When an engine is suspected of having internal difficulties, first examine the sump plugs and oil screens for metal chips, paying particular attention to the main sump. The presence of numerous metal chips indicates internal trouble. Examine these chips carefully, since their composition is an important factor in locating the source of the trouble. If there are numerous metal chips, thoroughly clean the oil system, including the oil tank and line, and replace the oil radiator before installing another engine. If no metal chips are found in the oil system, continue by checking compression. Remove the front spark plugs from all cylinders. Then pull the propeller through by hand, making sure the crankshaft turns freely and does not bind. Listen carefully for any unusual grating or grinding noises, which might indicate internal failure. Next, make a rough check of cylinder compression by holding the thumb over each spark plug hole until the compression forces the finger away. If this check is not conclusive, make a more careful test by reinstalling the front spark plug in the cylinder. Now, rotate the propeller until resistance is felt. Then, repeat the process for each cylinder. An equally thorough test of cylinder compression can be made by checking each cylinder with a pressure gauge installed in the spark plug hole. If the compression test reveals no trouble, remove the rocker box covers and check the valve mechanism for broken springs, sticking valves, and incorrect clearance. Then, proceed with a complete periodic inspection of the engine. Now let's review these 4 fundamental rules. First, be inquisitive. Collect all possible information. Second, be systematic. Use the process of elimination in locating the source of the trouble. Third, be accurate. Do your work right and in accordance with recommended procedure. Fourth, be cooperative. Experience and common sense are essential to successful troubleshooting. Don't rely on hunches, and don't guess. If you don't know, admit it and try to find the answer. And above all, never jump to conclusions. Be sure there is a logical reason for each step you take. If you need help, ask for it. The Pratt & Whitney Aircraft Service Department maintains a staff of thoroughly trained representatives strategically located to all domestic and foreign activities. These men are specially trained to help you locate and correct engine trouble.